Welcome to Enjoying Life, a program of music, chatter, and friends, designed to put a refreshing moment in your day. Now, please welcome your award-winning hosts, Dr. Jerry and Little Jan.
Oh, thank you, Paul. Thank you so much. Well, sweetheart, it's time to do some more programs, Enjoying Life.
I'm telling you, we come out here, and we've had a great time in Florida.
Oh, we have, yeah. We've had some time off, and so, you know, you've been watching all the programs and a few reruns now and then, but now it's time to do some brand new, fresh programs, and we're excited about it.
It'll be fun.
You know, we've had a lot of feedback from different places.
From this show.
You know, a guy that you went to Europe with when you and Wendy and were in Europe, they called him Billy Bob.
Billy Bob.
He played steel guitar?
He did. He did.
Well, we got an email from him. His true name is Bob Everett. Did you know that?
Bob Everett.
Yeah.
Did you tell him where we know him from?
Well, yeah,
We met.
Okay, go ahead, tell
No,
him.
you tell them.
Well, they did a series of programs overseas for the military.
Yes,
Back
we
in
did.
1960-something. Can you believe that? And Little Jan and them were singing. They spent 3 months traveling to North Africa and
That's right.
Spain and Europe and Germany and all that area over there. And they were singing the gospel in the programs over there. That's great, isn't it?
And that's where we met Billy Bob.
Yep, because he's part of the program. And David Reese was there, and, you know, of course, Wendy and Geraldine and all that bunch.
That's right.
Well, it's time for us to do some singing.
All right, let us do some singing.
You know, to all of us, at some point in our lives, once in a while, we reach a spot where we need a touch. You ready to get a mic?
Yes, let's get a mic.
And so I was at that point. I needed a touch. And just when we need a touch, God will send his presence. And so that's when this song came to my mind. And I sat down and began to write it. It just simply says, sufficient for me. Sufficient for me. Sufficient for me. His grace is sufficient and free. Sufficient for me. Sufficient. Sufficient for me. No matter your circumstances, listen to this verse. I'm not worthy, he cried, to stand by your side. I'm a leper and I'm blind, as you can see. That didn't bother Jesus. Listen to what happened. He reached out his hand and he touched that man. He said, my grace is sufficient for thee. Sufficient for me. Sufficient for me. His grace is sufficient and free. Sufficient for me, sufficient for me. His grace is sufficient for me. And I love this story. On an old rugged cross on Calvary's hill, a thief was dying, said, Lord, remember me. Here's Jesus. Today thou shalt be in paradise with me, for my grace is sufficient for thee. Sufficient for me. Sufficient for me. His grace is sufficient and free. Sufficient for me. Sufficient for me. His grace is sufficient for me. Well, we're glad they stayed with us because we got some great guests on today.
We have some really good people here today.
Yeah, we do. They're special friends, and we always love to have friends on. You know, that's one thing about the show is not only do we get to enjoy visiting with you every week, a couple of times each week.
Absolutely.
But we get to introduce our friends.
We get to introduce our friends and talk with them just a little bit,
Yeah.
know a little bit more about them. We
Yeah.
know some things, but not all things.
Yeah, we won't tell everything.
No, we won't do
Because,
that.
you know, he says he doesn't play the piano, but I know he can.
I know.
Okay, well, let's talk to him, okay?
Let's do it.
Would you join with us in making welcome Pat and Linnell Barker? We're just glad you're here.
Thank you. Good to be here.
I tell you, Pat and Linnell, my goodness. Now, Linnell, we don't get to see you very much, but we see Pat everywhere. How long have you been singing, Pat?
Oh, goodness. Traveling really about 15 years. Not a
15
long
years.
time, but singing, I started when I was 4, you know.
Oh, did you?
Standing on the
You're
stage.
one of those that's just
One of those.
as long as you can stand upright. You
Pat,
probably
did you
was
sing
it.
bass when you were 4?
Not till I was 5.
No,
Did you? Did you
Okay.
cry in tune?
Your mom probably
Oh,
thinks so.
Yeah.
Well, most of you have seen Pat with various groups.
Yeah.
How did you get to be, and I know that you have sustained, you have jobs that you've kept for a
Yeah.
while, but you know, whether it's on TV, whether it's on a cruise, whether it's at a concert, you're a utility
everywhere.
man. Everybody that needs a singer calls you. How did you get there?
I'm cheap.
Oh,
That is
You're
the-
what?
Oh, I'm cheap.
no,
Real
I don't
cheap.
believe that.
I don't believe
Well,
that
really,
at
you know,
all.
when I left Mark, I'd been with Mark about 4.5 years.
Mark Trammell.
Yeah, and when I left the road about 2 years ago, groups that would need a fill-in for a week or two, they would call me.
Yeah.
And then the Cathedral Family Reunion wanted to keep me on the
That's
tour,
true.
and then Gerald put me on the hymn sing, the second half quartet.
And the Guardians?
Guardians, yeah, I get
Yeah.
to sing with them about 4 or 5 times a year, and so
Wow.
I've sung with Ernie Haas, I've sung with Michael Fever Quartet, I've sung
Well,
with
listen,
a bunch
we'll
of
get
them.
a picture of the roster of Southern Gospel Music, and you'll
Yeah.
see his picture put in
That's
there
it.
somewhere.
That's fine.
Well, let's also meet Linnell.
Yes.
You're involved in music, too. We're finding things out about you. We don't see you on the
Oh,
road, but
wonderful.
tell us about what you do, Linnell.
Well, I teach chorus.
You teach chorus.
I do. I teach in the public schools. I teach middle school chorus.
Oh, great.
love
And you
that.
teach middle school chorus?
Yes.
Is that choral directing?
It
Or
is.
you have a choir?
It is. It's teaching choirs all day long.
Wow.
6th, 7th, and 8th graders.
You teach 7th, 6th, 7th. That's the middle school.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Well, are you a musician?
I get to sing at church a good deal and enjoy that.
Do you play?
Not well.
She plays about as well as I do.
Oh, I'm sure he's better. I'm sure he's better.
I think both of you play because I know from their own admission that he was a piano minor at the university. Y'all met at the university,
We
didn't you?
did. We met at Jacksonville State University about
Wow.
24 years ago. We came in at the same time.
Did you date?
That's awesome.
We did.
We did.
Yeah, we dated.
You
back
dated
in
at the
college.
university?
And then she wised up.
Oh, I don't know about
And
That's
that.
not
moved on.
true, Pat. That's not true.
It took her 20 years to figure out that I'm
Oh,
okay.
me. Well, listen, that's wonderful. That's
Well,
wonderful.
you've got children, don't you, Pat?
3.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How old are you?
Yeah.
10, 7, and 5.
Are they girls, boys?
2 girls and a boy. The oldest is a boy.
The oldest is a boy.
Yeah,
are
absolutely.
you teaching them to sing?
You know what? They have taught themselves.
Oh, really?
They sing all
really?
the time. If
Really?
we're playing
Some
something
kids
on the
don't do
radio,
that. Yeah.
they do. They sing constantly. I'm posting Facebook videos all the time of the kids singing in the car. And
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to have to check
Yeah,
that
you need to
out.
check
Yeah,
that
we'll
out.
check that out.
will.
Well, she's
Very
good at check. What'd you start?
It's very entertaining.
It
Oh,
is
I
very
bet
Is it
it is.
entertaining?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know, children, whatever they do, it seems like it's always entertaining. Their energy
Yes.
it makes it entertaining. Well, you know, Pat now sings bass. I'm sure he didn't start out 4 or 5 singing bass. When did your voice change that you realized you could be a bass?
A little later on, honestly. I was about 16, and I had been listening to gospel music for about 3 or 4 years. I didn't catch on until I was about 13.
Oh, really?
But I was listening to Danny Funderburk and Kirk Talley and those
The
guys,
high
the high
pitch.
stuff,
Yeah.
because I was singing really high. I was singing.
that time?
Oh, goodness, yes. At 14, 15 into 16.
That's
I was
awesome.
singing Larnell Harris and Steve Green and all these high tracks.
When did you go down?
It took about 3 weeks to go from
Doesn't
tenor
Gene
to bass.
McDonald have that same kind of story?
I don't know. I know Gene, you know, he's trained in opera singer.
But he was
He's
singing
unbelievable.
tenor for the group out of Kennett, Missouri, singing tenor.
And a month
And
later,
I've heard him sing tenor in those. They do these all bass quartets,
Yeah.
and they always put him on the tenor.
But now
phenomenal.
he's another bass singer.
Oh,
but he
he's
dropped
great.
about that fast too.
I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, it took about 3 or 4 weeks.
Scare you?
Yes, and I had to relearn everything. Like I knew all of Danny's parts, then I had to go and learn George's parts.
That's good. That's
Well,
good.
you know,
Linnell,
today you're not. Go ahead.
Yes, I want to ask Linnell, what do you do besides being at school teaching 6, 7, and 8 kids? What do you do when Pat is on the road?
What do you do to enjoy life? What do you
Yeah.
do to enjoy life?
What do you like?
Well, I enjoy working out. I enjoy
you?
exercise.
Oh, yeah?
I do.
Oh,
And I
that's
have some
cool.
wonderful friends. I love just spending time with them and really enjoy being active at church and singing again in our church choir.
Do you
I
do
enjoy
the
that.
athletic things? I mean, like running and jumping and all that?
Oh yeah, she's
No, I don't. That cardio, no, it'll
That you don't do that
I
fast.
do. No,
she's
I
much
like
more
classes.
fit than I am.
No, I like weights. I like.
Oh, you like weights?
I do. I
Now,
like
Jerry,
weightlifting.
Jerry does weights, but I don't do the weight thing.
I've walked through the gym a few times.
I love your honesty, Pat. I mean, you just zip right in there and tell it like it is. Well, I'm not a great weightlifter, you know, but I like upper body strength, you know, that part.
That's because he plays golf, though.
And
yeah.
it does help you. I think it helps. And so, and then of course, because of getting older, the doctor wants me to walk more, that kind
Do you
of thing.
cook much, Linnell? when
He is
you and Pat are
he's
at
a
home?
much better cook.
Pat's
enjoy
a better cook?
I will follow directions, but he is
Are
he is
you
a much
I
better
love
See,
cook.
cooking.
that's the
yeah,
way I
enjoy
feel
it.
about it.
I enjoy it.
So you're more
It's
than
very
a griller.
relaxing.
What's your specialty?
I don't know if I have a specialty. I cook
You
a
like
little
it
bit of
all.
everything. Now we love Mexican food, Italian.
Do you go out to those kind of places?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna throw in another name here, and we'll say you get credit for it.
All right.
But Corey and I, you know.
Corey Pearson.
Yeah, that's right.
Now I'll get credit.
Now you'll get credit. Okay.
That's good.
Yeah, we have a thing. You know, they like to go out to eat, and we like fine dining. So when we travel, whether and I'm not just throwing out words, but whether we're in Europe or here, we hunt fine dining. You know, we spent last July mostly in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
So we would hunt the fine dining places. And so whenever we're at a fine dining
This
place,
is true.
I'll text Corey, and I'll say, "Eat your heart out," and I'll show a picture. So you know,
Oh,
and
we
then
do
he
fine
does it
dining.
back to me.
Sometimes we'll go to Arby's and do the upsize combo. So it's, you know, we don't mind spending money. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Oh man,
can
you know
tell
you're
you-
opening up a can of worms.
I can tell you, when you have children, that's just where you go.
That is fine
You go to
dining. Yeah,
Burger
McDonald's
King or
and Burger
McDonald's
King,
or
that's right.
somewhere. That's where I take my kids.
There you go.
Sometime I tell a story, you know, when we're in concert or something, about when we
Our
started
first
dating,
date?
like our first date, and we, of course, I'm giving away secrets here right on TV, but I'll act like it's the first time I've ever told it, and she acts like it is too. And I
Yeah.
say, you know, I wanted to take Jan to a classy place, and so we went out to eat, and she was seated right beside me, and we were holding hands, and she let me order for her, and you know, it was so nice. And what really impressed me was when I pulled up to the next window, she offered to help pay. Of course, that sounds like
wins every
McDonald's
time.
or Wendy's, and it wins every time, you know.
That's funny.
Tell us your children's names.
Andy,
Andy.
and Breland and Emma. I named them all after the Andy Griffith Show.
Your kids.
Really?
No,
Did you
Andy.
For real?
I did. And then Breland, her middle name is Taylor, so it's B. Taylor.
Oh
And
my
then
gosh.
Emma was after Emma Watson, who was Aunt B's best friend in the first couple of seasons.
Pat Barker. That's awesome.
And we had a dog named Ellie, and so it's.
Okay, we've only got about a minute or two more to talk. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you want to add on here? What is your
Goodness.
ministry now, as far as what do you do?
Really, it is the second half quartet and Cathedral Family Reunion, hymn sing tour. That's really the stuff I do mostly. But I also teach at the Steve Hurst School of Music. Get to do
Oh,
that
yes,
every year, teaching
that's
vocal
wonderful.
performance.
Yes.
And so now what I do mainly is a thing called, you're going to like this, PB&J Productions International. PB&J stands for Pat Barker and Jesus.
Oh,
And so what we do is we do online vocal training. I'll do FaceTime vocal training
Is
with
that
folks.
right?
Do some webcasts. Do a lot of different things under that umbrella. But it also includes all the solo concerts and all that kind of stuff. But
That
they can.
PB&J, is that what it is?
PB&J, yeah.
PB&J, that's peanut butter and jelly.
Well, it can be.
Yes. That'll help you remember
Yes, that
if you
helps
want
you
to.
remember.
If you
oh,
want to
that's
go
good.
find Pat.
Did you just think of that?
Well, sure. I thought you were gonna. I thought you
You
were
thought
gonna
I was
say
starting a peanut butter and jelly sandwich
Yeah.
company.
Well,
I
that's pretty much a staple for us at night.
I love 'em.
You know, we have to limit ourselves to, you know, are we going to eat a half of one tonight or a whole
That's
one
true.
each? you know?
Yes.
Well, it's almost time for you to sing, and before you do, Jen would
Linnell,
like for
I
you
want
to
you to have
have
this book of mine.
her book,
Oh, that's
and take
sweet.
this with you when you go. She'll sign it before you leave the studio.
That is awesome.
Cute.
And I know you don't preach as such, but you
Not
do
yet,
ministry.
but-
So
You do
I want to
ministry.
give you 2 of my books. This are some of the commencement addresses. You got to promise to read at least the first one.
Absolutely.
That's
You'll love it,
commendable.
Pat.
And then I teach church history for the university. So this is the first 500 years of church history, and I wrote
Wow.
this book. So you can read those at
That
your
is
leisure.
awesome.
You'll be
All right,
able
get
to
your
read
mic.
Thank you.
Go over there and get in place
to
and be
sing
ready.
Yes, you do.
Yeah,
We're so
we get
excited.
to listen to you sing. Well, we're going to
One
enjoy.
of my very favorite songs that Pat Barker, I know this guy from a long time, Pat Barker, and he's going to sing Wonderful Time Up There.
All right, start the music, Mr. Sam.
Everybody's gonna have religion and glory. Everybody's gonna be singing that story. Everybody's gonna have a wonderful time up there. Glory, hallelujah, brother. There's a reckoning a-coming in the morning. Better get ready, 'cause I'm giving you the warning. Everybody's gonna have a wonderful time up there. Now listen, everybody, 'cause I'm talking to you. The Lord is the only one to carry you through. You better get ready, and I'm telling you why. Jesus is a-coming from his throne on high. And going down the valley, going one by one, we're gonna be rewarded for the things that we've done. How you gonna feel about the things he'll say on that judgment day? Well, everybody's gonna have religion and glory. Everybody's gonna be singing that story. Everybody's gonna have a wonderful time up there. Glory, hallelujah, brother. There's a reckoning a-coming in the morning. Better get ready, 'cause I'm giving you the warning. Everybody's gonna have a wonderful time up there. Now you get your Holy Bible in the back of the book of Revelation. That's the place you must look. If you understand it, and you can if you try, the Lord is coming from his throne on high. And reading in the Bible about the things he said he's coming back again to raise up the dead. Are you gonna be among the chosen few? Will you make it through? Well, everybody's gonna have religion and glory. Everybody's gonna be singing that story. Everybody's gonna have a wonderful time up there. Glory, hallelujah, brother. There's a reckoning a-coming in the morning. Better get ready, 'cause I'm giving you the warning. Everybody's gonna have a wonderful time up there. Well, 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 everybody's gonna have religion and glory. Everybody's gonna be singing that story. Everybody's gonna have a wonderful time up there. Glory, hallelujah, brother. There's a reckoning a-coming in the morning. Better get ready, 'cause I'm giving you the warning. Everybody's gonna have a wonderful time up there. this world below, where there's no sickness, toil nor danger, in that bright world to which I go. I'm going there to see my mother. I'm going there, no more to roam. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going over I'm going there to see my father. I'm going there, no more to roam. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going over home. I'm just a poor wayfaring stranger while traveling through this world below, where there's no sickness, toil nor danger, in that bright world to which I go. I'm going there to see my Savior. I'm going there, no more to roam. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going over home. I'm just going over home. I'm coming home.
Wow, wasn't that good singing?
I'm telling you.
That little boy can do it. I'm
Well,
telling
you know, that's the reason. Probably he's here and there and where
Everywhere.
I'm telling you. Wonder if, Pat, how about singing with us?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's
We
Y'all
get a
call
big old
home?
bus and hit the
Do you
road.
call home Alabama or Georgia? I know y'all in all.
We've got so much money, we just live in both.
Oh,
I mean,
wow. Wow.
You know,
Well,
I mean,
see?
it's Arby's and 2 houses. That's what we've got. No, honestly, we're still trying to figure all that out, you know, with where we're going to live and all that.
Yeah.
So right now, we're just not sure.
Well,
but
you know what?
We'll figure it
That's
out.
the same. Jared just can't give up his Nashville home, and my babies are here, so I'm not giving up my Georgia
I
home.
understand completely.
But
Well,
I'm
we'll
gonna
have
keep
you to
where
sing with
the-
us sometime.
Where the home is where the heart is.
That's
And my
right.
heart is.
Oh, that was sweet.
That was good, wasn't it?
I'll tell you what.
Linnell knows how good that is, don't
Ooh
you?
moment. Do y'all have ooh moments?
Oh, yeah.
Do you?
Oh, yeah.
Every time I wake up, she goes, ooh.
Good.
You know, I'm going to
That's
tell.
good.
This is an honest confession. I've been knowing you for years, Pat, because you've been
Isn't it?
around everywhere we are and you are. But I'm learning a different Pat than I've ever known here
He's
today.
funny for one thing.
Yeah, you have subtle humor,
Well,
don't
see, when you're with Mark and Randy Shellnut, you can't talk, so you kind of just have to stand there. So,
Okay.
you know, now I get to talk.
Yes.
Mark talks all the time.
But I am learning, and I love the other Pat, but I really love this Pat, I'll tell you.
Well, thank you.
You could
Yeah,
hang out with, well,
Yeah,
both
he
of
could
us
hang out with a new Pat.
Yeah, he could do that. And I know I like Linnell, so I could hang. Hey, well, let's have a dinner one
Let's
night.
go.
Yeah, we'll go for
I'll
dinner
send
one
Corey
night.
pictures of it.
Yeah, we will. He'll love that.
He certainly
we're
will.
so glad that you worked it into your schedule, and I know
Thank
you're
you.
busy and you're
Busy,
covering
busy,
the United
busy.
States and where all of you may
Yes.
go in the groups. Tell each one that you sing with, we said our hellos.
I
and send
absolutely
them.
will.
And
love them all.
We hope that we'll see more of you.
Yeah,
Maybe
We
back on the show another time.
that would
Yes.
be great.
I think that's music that says we got to get
That's
out of
music.
here.
That's what that music says,
That
and
is.
you know what? We have a motto here, and we like to tell it to each of you.
There
And
we
our
are.
motto is, take Christ as your partner and enjoy life.
Do
We'll
it.
see you our next taping session. God bless you.